Good evening. Welcome to the city of North Miami. Sitting at the North Miami Council Chambers, 776 Northeast 125th Street. On the second floor, this is our special meeting, second budget hearing. Today is Monday, September 24th, 2012, a little bit past 6 p.m. To begin the meeting this evening, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. A Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. City Clerk, roll call. Councilwoman Stereo, present. Councilman Galvin, present. Mayor Pierre, present. Councilman Glenn, present. Councilman Marcellus, present. Okay, thank you. Mr. City Manager, any changes, amendments to the agenda?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. There are no changes.
Okay, no change
to this budget. Just to bring a minor part up.
Okay.
But it does not affect the bottom line.
Okay.
We will be moving because of the outsourcing of our sanitation department. We initially were going to leave 4 people there. I'm sorry, building department. Thank you.
Yeah.
In our building department.
Okay.
We probably will leave 3 there.
Okay.
But during the course of the year, one person would be, at least one, would be moved out in the neighborhood of 39,000. So we'll leave that to the discretion of
the council.
This council as to how you want to handle that.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay, Mr. City Clerk, tab A.
Proposed resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, adopting a revised classification and pay plan for classified and unclassified employees of the city for the 2012-2013 fiscal year budget, providing for an effective date and all other purposes.
Move the resolution.
Okay. Has been moved, has been seconded. Anyone wishes to be heard on tab A? Hearing none. Any additional discussions about this resolution? This is the second reading. Okay. Anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none. Tab A passed. Tab B.
I'm sorry, Mayor. Who seconded that? Was it you, Mayor?
I seconded. I'm sorry. The Vice Mayor seconded that motion. We both seconded. So made by Councilman Blunt, seconded by Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. Now, with regards to tab B and C, I was told that I have to read it by the entire in the entirety. So please bear with me.
Sure.
Tab B. A resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, adopting a final millage rate of 8.1000 mils for fiscal year 2012-2013, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Whereas the City of North Miami, Florida City has considered an operating budget for fiscal year 2012-2013 in accordance with the provisions of Section 200.065 Florida statutes, and whereas the millage rate necessary to fund the city's operating budget for fiscal year 2012-2013 is 8.1000 mils, which is negative 0.046% less than the rollback rate of 8.1037 mils, and whereas in accordance with Section 200.065 5A Florida Statutes 2012 as amended from time to time, a majority vote of the Mayor and City Council is required to adopt a rate of up to 9.1225 mils. And whereas on September 10, 2012, the Mayor and City Council held a duly noticed special budget hearing and unanimously passed and adopted by resolution the tentative millage rate of 8.1000 mils for fiscal year 2012-2013 pursuant to Florida law. And whereas the Mayor and City Council hereby find that the adoption of the proposed final millage rate of 8.1000 mills for fiscal year 2012-2013 is in the best interest of the city. Now, therefore, be it duly resolved by the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, Section 1, adoption of final millage rate. The mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida hereby adopt 8.1000 mills as the final millage rate on assessed property value necessary to fund the city's fiscal year 2012-2013 operating budget. Section 2, effective date. This resolution shall become effective immediately upon adoption.
Pass the resolution.
Okay. Has been seconded. Any members of the public would like to be heard on tab B, which is lowering of the millage rate, allowing you to save more money on your property taxes? Hearing none. Motion was made, seconded. Anyone wishes to record a no?
So it has to be roll call, the millage rate? I think it has to be roll call, Mayor.
Okay, roll call.
Mayor Pierre,
Yes.
Councilman Marcellus,
Yes.
Councilman Blinn,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Steril,
Yes.
Councilman Galvin.
Yes.
Tab B passes 5-0.
Thank you. Tab C.
At 6:15 on the dot. Thank you. Protocol, apparently. Okay, tab C. An ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, adopting and approving the budget of the city of North Miami for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2012 and ending September 30th, 2013, authorizing the amount to be raised by taxation for the operation of the city for the 2012-2013 fiscal year, authorizing the expenditure of funds established by the budget, authorizing the return on investment transfer from the water and sewer utility fund to the general fund, authorizing the city manager to implement budget amendments, revenue and or expenditures to appropriate or appropriate funds as required during the fiscal year, and to amend the prior fiscal year budget to facilitate the year-end closing process, providing for repeal, severability, and an effective date. Whereas the budget of the city of North Miami, Florida, for fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2012 and ending September 30th, 2013, attached hereto as Exhibit 1, was considered at public hearings held on September 10, 2012 and September 24th, 2012, as required by Chapter 200 Florida statutes, and whereas the mayor and city council wish to approve adopt the budget of the city for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2012 and ending September 30th, 2012, and to authorize that this amount be raised by taxation for the operation of the city for the 2012-2013 fiscal year. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, that Section 1 budget approved and adopted the budget of the city of North Miami for fiscal year 2012-2013 fiscal year attached hereto as Exhibit 1 is hereby approved and adopted. Section 2, implement budget amendments. The city manager of the city of North Miami is hereby authorized to implement budget amendments, revenue and or expenditures by resolution to appropriate or unappropriate funds as required during the fiscal year, and to amend the prior fiscal year budget by resolution to facilitate the year-end closing process. Section 3, expenditure of funds appropriated in the authorized budget. Funds appropriated to the various departments in the budget may be expended by the directors of each department by and with the approval of the city manager in accordance with the provisions of the city charter and applicable ordinances. Expenditures of funds, including but not limited to enterprise funds, internal service funds, and expendable trust funds under circumstances in which additional revenues are generated by user fees or charges to offset the cost of supplying the service to residents or other city departments shall not be limited by estimated appropriations, but rather by actual revenue, and to that extent, the actual revenue received shall be deemed to be appropriated. Section 4, return on investment of water and sewer fund assets. The budget includes a transfer from the water and sewer operation and maintenance fund to the general fund representing the return on investment that taxpayers would receive if the utility were to be sold. The transfer for the 2012-2013 fiscal year is calculated at 5.0% of fixed assets as of September 30th, 2011. This transfer may be made annually, but not to exceed 7.5% of utilities net fixed assets. Section 5, checks. All checks on city bank accounts shall be signed by any member of the city council and finance director. Section 6, amount of taxes. The approximate amount of $16,710,351.00 shall be the amount of gross taxes to be raised by the operating ad valorem tax levied authorized by resolution of the city council. Section 7, authority of manager. The city manager is authorized and directed to execute and deliver any and all documents and instruments and to do and cause to be done any and all acts and things necessary or proper for carrying out the transactions contemplated by this ordinance. Section 8, repeal. All ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict or inconsistent are repealed. Section 9, severability. If any word, clause, phrase, sentence, paragraph, or section of this ordinance is held to be invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, such declaration of invalidity shall not affect any other word, clause, phrase, section, sentence, paragraph, or section of this ordinance. Section 10, effective date. This ordinance shall become effective immediately upon adoption on second reading, passed and adopted by a 4-1 vote of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami on first reading this 10th day of September 2012.
Mr. Mayor, if
Thank
I
you.
could just bring out one, probably a typo, but in the second whereas statement, it should be the budget of the city for the fiscal year beginning October the 1st, 2012, ending September the 30th, 2013.
What page is that, Mr. Manager?
One of three.
Got it.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, that's it?
Yes.
Okay.
Move it.
Okay, has been moved by Councilman Blinn, seconded by Vice Mayor. Mr. City Manager, anything you need to add? Any additional comments you need to be made about this budget? Anything else?
Mr. Mayor and Council, just as I had indicated at first, other than that, this is a very workable document. I have to say that our budget office and all of staff have gone through this. I think it's a budget that does put us in a position that we can work effectively and efficient into the new coming year. Keeping in mind that wherever we can also save money, it would also be our every attempt to do so as well.
Okay. All right, thank you. Public hearing is open on tab C. Anyone wishes to be heard on tab C? Okay, public hearing is now closed on tab C. At the last budget hearing, which was scheduled for September 10th, 2012, there are a few things that I said, and a few of them must be said again. Let me say again, thank you to the city manager, Stephen Johnson, for a job well done. He continued to prove to us that he is knowledgeable and capable of getting the job done with efficiency, while putting the North Miami residents first. And also to the budget staff, Duke Sorry Jr. and Kay Grant coming in at the time and basically have been able to show to us that they are capable of balancing our budget here in the city of North Miami. We had several workshops on this budget. In addition to that, this budget was presented to several congregations in North Miami, reaching about 1,800 people. On this budget, we received their comments, their input, and again, basically throughout the community, we have continued to get the feedback. This is a budget that was balanced with no fuzzy numbers, just a balanced budget taking into consideration and the needs and desires of the people. As I said before, the city's gross property tax revenue is calculated at 95%. To me, that is a very, very conservative way of calculating this budget. It just seemed to me that 80% of the people do not usually take that, what I call, the early payment option. So if they don't, the city of North Miami will see an additional close to $700,000 if the people don't take advantage of the early payment option that you usually get from Miami-Dade County. So this is additional fundings that I think, as we go through, probably in March, the city manager will come back here and say, hey, we get an additional $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 because people didn't take that payment option. So again, thank you, Mr. Manager, for stepping out from your comfort zone and working to give us this balanced budget that is inclusive of the needs and opinion of the people of North Miami. Councilman Marcellus, your comments?
I think this thing we have to acknowledge when we make a good progress, and this is the way to encourage our staff and to let them know we're very proud of our works they done in the city. And I think, Mr. City Manager, personally I thank you and for the great job, and the budget staff and all the staff members that participating in make this thing a reality. Like I said, last year it was very bad and everybody was anxious and knowing how we're going to balance our budget. And I was taking part on it, and it was difficult. And I remember when I went to Kay and Surrey and Mr. Stephen and Dr. Claude, that was very tense last year. But this year, we understand we balance our budget, we're decreasing the taxes without touching the basic lending money, and we still have a surplus. I think this is something that we have to acknowledge and make on behalf of the people of North Miami, and to be proud of our work that you do. Please continue to do so and encourage your staff and to work together with you and the years ahead. And I think, like we said, our better days is ahead of us, and we'll make sure and the city of North Miami is in the driver's seat compared to other cities, and will great things. And once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Councilman Marcellus. I think before we, you mentioned that there's a $39,000 that is there. I know we budgeted $115,000 for the North Miami Foundation, and I know we cut 9, maybe 2 straight years, or last year. Can we allocate that $39,000 to 99 Foundation, which is here in the city of North Miami? I'll make a motion to give that $39,000 to that not-for-profit organizations that, all of you have been there and seen the services that they are providing for our North Miami resident.
Yeah, second it.
Okay, has been seconded by Councilman Blen. Anyone wishes to record or no?
I've got questions, if I might.
Yeah, we'll get to the budget. I'm just talking about that $39,000.
No, I have questions on the $39,000.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Where is that coming from?
We have 4 positions in our building department. As you know, we are bringing in another company to run that. When we met with them over the past week, they could only use about 2 to 3 people. So those 4 individuals were in there. To be on the safe side, I just dropped the 1 being the lowest position, the individual that has the least seniority. Of course, that would be absorbed in another department, which leaves the 39,000 in that particular department. So it's going from 4 to 3
All right. Thank you.
employees.
And Mr. Mayor, you were the maker of the motion.
Yes.
The 39,000, do you want it to go totally to Nanai, or did you want it to be in a fund, or did you want it to be dispersed to others? I wasn't clear on.
Totally to Nanai to provide services for North Miami residents.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion was made. It was seconded. Anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none, motion passed 5-0. Continue on with the budget, Councilman Garvin.
Sure, thank you. I know it's not in this budget, well, it is in this budget, but when are we going to talk about how we're going to spend the Biscayne Landing money?
Good question. We'll make a motion. Let's do it the first meeting in October or the second meeting in October. It's up to, I guess we could put it on the agenda for next meeting in October. I have no problem with that. Anyone has any problem putting this a discussion on how we're going to spend the Biscayne Landing money
Or
in the
not
first,
spend it.
or not
Not
spend it,
spend
or
it.
not spend it in the first meeting in October? Well, not discuss it because we may take action there. So I just want to make sure.
Can we do that the second meeting of October, at least to give everybody a chance to get their ducks in a row? Because I just see them whispering to each other. That's like 2 weeks from now or whatever. So
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's up to the
Second
city
meeting's
council whether we do the first meeting or the second meeting in
Second meeting.
October.
Motion for second meeting.
That's not really.
Not just a discussion. Actions will be taken there. Okay, so
Okay.
whatever, whether is not to spend it or to spend it, where to spend it, action will be taken at that meeting.
I'm cool
Okay.
with the second meeting. At least that gives everybody a little bit more time.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, we just wanted clarity on that,
Mhm.
what your expectations were in that meeting.
Second meeting.
Yeah, it's $12.5 million, and action will be taken at that meeting. So it's up to the staff to do that resolution right now. This council needs to determine whether they want the first meeting or the second meeting.
Second meeting.
I'll
Okay.
second the motion for the second meeting of October.
Okay. Is there any problem with? I mean, it doesn't matter to me the first or the second meeting in October. I have no problem
Let's
with
move
that.
for second. Though.
Okay, so second meeting in October, add that agenda item.
Just so that I'm clear, do you want a resolution? Do you just want it as a discussion item? What's the exact?
Whichever way that would allow us to make decision on whether to spend it or not to spend it, and how to spend it. So a decision, actions will be taken at that meeting.
They might have to be like budget amendments or something like that, I'm thinking, because right now it's in the budget just sort of unallocated, and then we're amending the budget. That's my thought off
Yes.
the top of my head.
That is correct, through the mayor, councilman. It would be a budget amendment. The funds are now placed over into a particular allocation. So if there's going to be any proposals, that's what we would be doing, but we would do that during the year anyway. So I think what the mayor is saying, at that meeting, he would like to discuss how the utilization of those funds.
That is correct.
So we can't really come up with a resolution of how,
It'd be a discussion
because
meeting.
it's going to be discussed, and at that point in time, we could come up with subsequent meetings as it's allocated to move those funds accordingly.
Discussion.
Well, no, whether there's a resolution there or not,
Correct.
whichever way that you want to advertise it, all I'm asking you to do is to make sure,
Mhm.
whichever you advertise it, make sure that we can take action at that meeting. Okay, if we say that we're gonna put the $12.5 million into a trust account for 10 years for interest, I want to make sure that I'm able to do that. Okay, let's say that I want to spend $12.5 million into making sure that the city employees are compensated for the work that they have done, that I want to enter into a contract with them, I want to make sure that I'm able to do that at that meeting. Okay? Let's say that I want, for example, we know initially Biscayne Landing was supposed to rehab, the homes that we have on the west side. Okay, let's say that's what I want to do. I want to make sure that I'm able to do that. For example, Biscayne Landing was supposed to build us a brand new library with, empty promises. So at that meeting, if I want to refurbish our old library, I want to make sure that I'm able to do that. So whichever way that staff wants to do it, wants to publish it, it's up to you. But I don't want to be here making that decision, then I'm hearing that, well, you cannot make decision here, it's only for discussion.
I would have to defer to council.
That's why we give you a month to
yes.
figure it out.
Okay.
Okay, well,
All right. No
you
problem.
ready?
Go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you. On page 74, and I'm looking at the hardbound copy of the budget because the softbound one that's online is a little bit different, so I'm looking at that when I refer to page numbers. On page 74, there's a public information specialist for $46,000. That's a new position as I understand it. What would that public information specialist do?
They would be carrying out the current position or the tasks that are being done now by Pam Solomon. Pam Solomon's position would be enhanced. I think we have a public information officer, but the specialist basically would be assisting her in those responsibilities. Other areas that we would like to get involved into, utilization of Channel 77 in a way that we've never used it before, the internet in a way that we've never used it before, getting a lot of material out timely in a way that we've never been able to do before. So Pam Solomon has really been using other staff people, but the more importantly, Channel 77 and the internet is not reaching its full utilization, and we would like to do that with an additional person.
Thank you. Page 200, maintenance contract on Biscayne Landing. I'd like to, if the council's inclined, either zero fund that and move the money elsewhere or significantly reduce this. Yeah, I brought this up at the last council meeting, or excuse me, the last budget meeting, and we talked about why we'd need to fund that much for this position. And the mayor made a very good point that we should have somebody that represents the city's interests out at that site. But I've since learned there's an additional $125,000 in the Biscayne Landing contract, which basically brings this position to $250,000. That's more than you get paid and more than she gets paid. That makes that person the highest paid employee of the city, $250,000 a year. I think that needs to be significantly lowered. I question whether or not we need the position, but even if we do, the fact that he's getting paid, he or she might be getting paid by both Biscayne Landing and the city, even though the Biscayne Landing would give the money to the city. I don't think that person then becomes any more of an independent voice for the citizens of North Miami. I mean, when you're getting paid from two places, it's hard, not to sort of do the wishes of both places. So is there any preference among the council to reduce that Biscayne Landing maintenance to either zero or $50,000, somewhere in that neighborhood?
Through the mayor, councilman, if I could shed some light prior to you all making that decision, and however you all decide, that price or that amount was, we derived that only because of the existing contract that's out there now, which is more than this amount, along with the amount that we were getting from the developer. And I'm sorry?
I don't understand. What do you mean far more than the contract that's already out there?
Well, currently the contract out there now is about $25,000 a month.
Right.
So that's $300,000 a year. However, at the time that we were doing the budget and doing the contract with Biscayne Landing, we had based it upon the services moving forward of about 250,000. My goal in negotiating, and the city was paying all of that, my attempt then was to lower what the city pays by putting it on the developer during contract negotiations.
Right.
So I can tell you that I have directed staff for the next council meeting to look at the work that's being done out there now, to look at what additional services that are going to be regulatorily required, so that you can have a better assessment in making your decision, so that we would know what is the scope of work that has been done out there. But keeping in mind that the prior contract was in line with that amount. The existing contract is in line with that amount. So that's how we came up to this number of around 250. But again, my goal was to get the developer to share the cost. And that individual, the developer, would pay the city, and this person will work for the city. So this is just information for you all to have while you're making your decision.
Well, thank you. I still stay in the same place. Obviously, that's a lot of money for any individual or company to make off of the city of North Miami. So I would like to motion to reduce that amount in our general budget and maybe move it to other projects.
Mr. Mayor?
Just 1 second. As I said before, to me, the issue has to be decided, and a budget amendment will be made if necessary. So at this moment, to me, the funds must be allocated. Then if we find the lowest bidder or the best company or the best girl to do the work, it's much lower than what it is, then we'll just do the budget amendment. That's the way I see it. I don't really want to just take that out from the budget, then for me to come back again and say, hey, you know what, it's going to cost us $150 or $175. Let's go ahead and find the money for that. So, to me, I think it must stay there. Then when the city council makes that decision on what to do with whomever it is, the consultant is, then we could always make that change.
I concur with you.
So, that's just the way I see it. So, I'm not sure if there's, you made the motion. Is that, you made that in a motion to take item number 311 out of the budget? Is that the motion?
Sure.
Okay.
No second.
Okay. Anyone wishes to second the motion? Okay. Hearing none. Motion fell.
All right. Thank you. On page 202, just some clarification. Object 820, North Miami Peer Tutoring. That sounds familiar to me, but what specifically is that going to be?
Through the mayor, councilman, this is a program this is similar to the program that was given to the Police Athletic League about 2 years ago. This is where the students in the high school tutor each other, and it's been known to be very effective in addressing students who are entered into the program based upon their academic level, based upon their need, and they will be placed into this program with the goal of raising their overall grades. As you know, at the time that this was done, North Miami Senior was a D or D minus. The year of that program that it did work, I would have to say that the peer tutoring took majority of that credit. This grade level came to a C. Last year, this item was not budgeted. The grade level came out to still be a C. So that's information for you all to have and to consider when you're looking at this item. It proved to be very effective by raising the overall grade level of the school.
What was the last year we funded this one?
This was in 2010-2011 budget.
And what was the amount that we budgeted it for?
100,000.
And who oversaw the administration of the program? I mean, is there a company that we hire, or how does that work?
Through the mayor councilman, we utilize school staff. We work with the principal. They've got a coordinator, which was someone from the school board, school staff who oversaw the program. They got their best students to be the tutors, and this was all facilitated through the Police Athletic League.
Okay. But this would be facilitated in a different manner this time, or still through the Police Athletic League?
It would be facilitated through the Police Athletic League, and it would be run by, in conjunction with the school board. They're the ones that get the teachers to oversee the program, identify the students, and they are the ones that look at the profile of the students as to who goes into this program. So it's all North Miami senior students.
All right, thank you. And then the adult continuing education, I know I asked questions about the last time, but then I guess it didn't register. Can you explain that for me again, please?
Yes.
What is this program?
Through the mayor councilman, the school board has changed their policy. At nighttime, North Miami Senior has probably the largest adult program, adult continuing education program in the county. We have over about 5,000. Many of those are North Miami residents. So the spirit of this grant is to those that are going to be attending that school, they're now charging $35. So basically, it would be a $35 fee. This grant would pay for North Miami residents to attend that program, to continue to ensure that the program continues. So we would have to work with Mr. Ridori to look at the applications to ensure that they're North Miami residents, inform them that there is a grant that would pay that $35 or $50 fee, whichever it is, so that they can continue in that program.
Right. In addition to that, admission has been reduced because of that fee that our residents and non-resident cannot pay to go to school there.
So we're gonna make grants available for people who are,
Get the
I don't know. I mean, yes, they're city residents, but is there some income level that's going to be established or is established that they'd have to fall under to qualify? How does that work?
I would say that basically, if there's anyone going to school as an adult, I think that in of itself would explain that there is already a need or a condition where there's a need for this person to be there getting that education. So basically the criteria should be basically if they're a North Miami resident and if they're an adult and if they want to attend school to enhance themselves.
Okay. And so residency is going to be the only
Correct.
standard that we take into play. And when we're writing the check, it's going to go straight to Dade County Public Schools,
Straight to
not
Dade
to the
County.
resident and to the who has to write it to the
Straight
schools.
to Dade County Public Schools.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Page 248. The Diaspo Cup. Again, that's a for-profit organization who tends to jump up at us at the last minute to say, oh, wow, by the way, we're having an event this weekend. We need you to underwrite all sorts of costs. I have issues with underwriting costs, staff hours, and such for a for-profit organization's event. Have we heard anything from them now, 8 weeks out from their event, 2 weeks removed from our first budget hearing? Are they having the event? Are they making any plans? Are they going to wait till the last minute?
The reason why it's in the budget because we have, this is for staff because we do anticipate them having the event. They've had the event for the past several years. In speaking to them last year, they have committed themselves to having the event again this year. But again, this only covers the city's costs for staff.
Right.
And yes, from the last conversation that they would like to do this annually. So anticipating that this is going to take place, is here in the budget.
Well, again, I have issue that it's a for-profit business. It's one thing if we're underwriting some costs for the American Cancer Society, a nonprofit, for the students who need to go to North Miami High, you know, because they can't afford to go to. I do have issue with Diaspora Cup, not the event itself, but the fact that they're a for-profit. And I have to ask that if we haven't made direct contact with them about their 2012 event, that we please do so that it's not coming to us an emergency rush November 15th for the November 22nd event, and people are angry that this is, we've gone through that same dance at least 4 times with them. And, you know, I'm just pointing it out now because I don't like the precedent of paying for-profit companies out of the city's budget, even though it is for our staff time. They should be paying for that. That should be built into their cost, like when you rent the Margolis Center or something like that, the cost of the staff is written into the fee that they pay. Normally their procedure is to jump forward at the last minute and ask everything be waived, and then we're not only eating that cost, but now we're paying lots of staff members here, and 60 hours of staff for one event, 24 hours of staff another event, you know, all told $1,600 or so, $1,700. So I'd like to remove that. Is there anybody else on the council who's interested?
What we're going to do when they come to us and they said, hey, you know, we're going to do Jasper Cup. I mean, what would be, because I know they're going to come in whether you like it or not. I mean, they're going to come in either way. This is something that they do every single year. Coach Waller, he's always late. He always show up, and he'll stand there and say he apologized. I mean, I remember he did it in 2009, did it in 2010, came back again 2011, and he's going to do it again this year. So, you know, I have not.
Mr. Mayor, even though this organization is a for-profit organization, but I've been to this event, you know, year after year. I really do not understand why he keep doing them, because it's a loss for him. I think he's always get a loss from that event, but I think that's where he get his. That's a fantasy for him. Get the people there and they have fun, and that's the only thing that he get from it is the joy of doing it, but not because he's make any money of it. Okay, and by saying that, just by providing this thing to help the people come out in that event, I think this is a good thing. Okay, because he does. I don't know, because I went to that event in many years, you know, and I don't think he's make any money, any profit of doing that event. I don't know, Councilman Galvin, if you never stop by there and see. And this year, I encourage you to stop by.
Even Councilman Blake came by to play soccer one day, right? Were you there when
yeah, I was there for 4 hours.
Yeah, he tried to play soccer with the guy. So
it's fun, but it's not money.
Stay there at night.
No,
Yeah.
I understand. They're
It's a
not
nice
making,
event.
I could say this. Have I been by the event? Yes. Did I recognize that there's hardly anybody there? Yes. Am I making a big point that we're spending lots of taxpayer money for this man to have a fantasy, as you've just called it? No, I was trying to be genteel and addressing the subject. But since you've brought it up, it's a small bunch of folks who get together to play a little soccer, and it's cute, it's nice, but we're giving them free facility, and now we're underwriting lots of staff. And that's one thing. If it's a nonprofit organization, it's a totally separate thing if it's a for-profit organization. And that's my issue, is that we are underwriting a fantasy for a for-profit organization at the taxpayer's expense. I'd like to remove it. If there's any
But
support,
I just don't want
great,
you to take the word fantasy, but because like 200-300 people come out and they have fun. I think they live in the city of North Miami, and so and I think
then we should
don't
do
quote
the
me
event.
on that.
Then we should do the event.
So the
you know.
motion was made. Anyone wishes to second the motion? Hearing none, motion failed.
All right, thank you. My last question is just a general overall one. When we make donations, like we're buying a table at an event or other donations that we make through the year, you know, this year we made a few of them. Where does that money come from in this budget?
What we plan to do is look at donations that are coming into the city. Some of those events that come before the council, some of them are public relations related. So the funding could come out of my office. And it just depends on the nature of the event. If it's, for instance, the Miami-Dade County Chamber of Commerce, they may have a table. It might be advantageous for the city to participate in that. So it really depends on what type of event it is as to the revenue source. One of the things that I am attempting to do this year is to get participation from vendors to give back so that the city could have a funding source for those events of that type. So it does not come out of the budget. That's my goal.
So your hope is to ask some of our people, not just Biscayne Landing. Everybody always asks Biscayne Landing, but you're going to ask some of the other people who do work for the city, Country Builds, or I don't know, I can't name anybody else off the top of my head, but you're going to ask those folks to donate into a fund, and then that fund is going to be used for us buying a table for that, or for, like we gave $10,000 to the We Are Foundation this year, a wonderfully deserving organization. That's where you'd fund those types of requests?
That came from something at that expense comes from unexpected revenue. That's where something like that will come from. But when you're getting into a small area like tables, that's what our goal is. That's what our strategy is this year. If we get a contract, as long as it's in the contract that they give to community-related events, that would be the revenue source. Excuse me. But large events that come before the mayor and council that you all have voted on, of 5,000 or 10,000, then that comes from unexpected revenue that we have, and we go back as staff to see if we have it. We look at the budget, we look at areas that we have, and we say we can take it from this, because if you direct us, we would try to find it.
So as it stands right, is there a line in there that provides for that?
Well, like what the budget director's pointing out, like in your, on page 174, Miami-Dade County League of City Gala, it's in the budget.
Right. There are some that I see already in there, but it's not the specified ones. I was thinking more along the lines of the unexpected ones.
Correct.
I think there was one night where we did We Are Foundation and 10,000 to the family of a trooper in the same night. And correct. I don't see anything in here for that. So my first question was, if that comes up next week and somebody's asking us for 10,000 for their foundation.
We don't have it.
Right. Do you tell us that we don't have it until such time as you get this unexpected revenue? Or are you going to grab it from somewhere else and do it anyway?
No, we would try to find the revenue, and if it's not there, we'll tell you that it's not there, that it's not in the budget, because every line item here is what we have. And if we come to that road and we could then say we don't have it, or if we do have it, we will say we have it. At the end of the year, toward the end of the year, there were several things that came in that was unanticipated revenue. Some of it is revenue that we projected that we did better than what we thought that we were going to do. That's one area of what we call unanticipated revenue. I'll give you another example. We entered into a settlement with Bank of America for $100,000. So that came in. At the same time, there are other areas where we may not have done as well as we thought that we were going to do. Right. So that those funds get absorbed into those areas as well. Last year, we had a lot of measures in place. I mean, we put a lot of emphasis on budgeting, a lot of policies in place. We went back to vendors. We asked vendors to change their contracts. We went after contracts that we had not gone after before that owed the city money, such as the Oats. So we had a lot of areas that we did very well in, which we did because we did not want to count on Biscayne Landing.
Right.
So that's how we were able to do last year's budget without using Biscayne Landing, and this year without using Biscayne Landing.
Do we know off the top of your head? I mean, maybe they have a little spreadsheet right there. How many donations did we make last year in the last fiscal year, approximately?
She's looking, but it's roughly about 50 or more. We're looking, but I can give you an example. If you're going to do an event in your district, Councilman Marcellus might say, "I want to do a health fair." These are things that catches staff off guard. So basically, we look into areas where we would get donations, and that is what helps absorb some of that cost to do events like that.
So I guess now I have two questions. We have donations going out. How many of, you say 50 of those donations going
Are
out?
you asking for donations coming in or donations going
Well,
out?
now I was going to ask about coming in. That would be my second one. But my first question was
Well-
about donations going out. How many we made of those?
Well, the way the revenue works, if it's going out,
Right.
for,
You said it's coming from unexpected revenue. I mean, I get that.
Right.
But I'm just curious how many we have going out.
this year we have $80,000 in donations, revenues coming in.
Okay. And those 80,000, that 80,000 came from whom?
It was the Haitian Heritage donation and the Arts and Education donation, the backpack program,
We made those going out, though.
There's a donation coming in.
donations coming in.
So I'm
Fundraising.
confused. So, I don't know, what was the first one you mentioned there? Haitian Heritage Museum?
Month.
Yes. Haitian Heritage Month.
Okay, so those are donations we made out?
No.
No,
You've
they
lost.
came
Coming
in.
in.
Okay.
Fundraising.
So we solicited that money from somebody?
Yes. And then they go out. So basically,
Just a fast.
So we had 80,000 in, 80,000 out.
yeah, because they're specific for different functions.
Okay.
For example, National Hispanic Heritage Month. Okay, Ron Book sponsored that month. He sent a check for $2,500. Okay,
Right.
so that's donation coming in to support, what we do in the month, and I think there are other checks that may come in, but at the same time, we have to write those checks back out. For example, when we had what's the young lady, Felipe?
Correct.
The Grand Fiesta. We have to pay
The
for her
music.
performance. So we take money out from that $2,500. We pay for her performance, whether that would be $400 or $500. Then we have the key to the city, not the key to the city, the induction, the Hall of Fame. We take money from that and cut the check. So it just pretty much balances
Right.
itself out.
I see she was able to pull that up pretty quickly on a little spreadsheet. Is it too much to ask for a print off of the spreadsheet, both incoming and outgoing?
No, we can provide that.
All right, tonight maybe?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Those are all the questions I had, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Glenn?
Well, I still have a high priority, which you proceeded to tell me in the last meeting that you will make every effort to meet. And that's something that's very important to the citizens of the city, is to keep the library open on Sunday from 6 to 10 o'clock. The library gets a good number of people on Sunday, and they complain that they have to leave early. And I really wish we could find some way of funding that. It would be a great benefit to the citizens of the city. And we are here for their general welfare. This is their education, which is their general welfare. And I would appreciate if you could adjust the budget to reflect some monies to pay for the library to be open 8 hours on Sunday, or more for that matter.
Through the mayor, Councilman Bland, we are seeking grant money. We just did an application that's going out tomorrow. So once that grant money comes in, based upon the amount, we could take that into consideration, that the request that you're making.
And have we gotten Swirl's $50,000 to Pete
No. Is this for the Gwen Margolis Center?
for the, renovation of the Gwen Margolis Center?
Not as of yet. We do anticipate getting those funds in the month of October.
Not. Any other monies we anticipate getting?
I mean, that's it right now. I mean, if there is a sale for the Biscayne Landing Oats,
Right.
we're in the process of discussing that now. Into negotiations. There's 2 areas that we're looking
That
at.
would be a considerable sum of money.
That would be considerable. However, like I said, we're discussing that with the seller, iStar, and the way that works is does the city get the money on the back end or the front end? So we are in discussions of that right now.
All right, thank you.
We'll get the money on the front end.
I hope so.
Vice Mayor?
Oh, wait, that's you.
No, I see that he really want to say something, so
I forgot it moved from one to the other.
No, I don't have any question, Mr. Mayor, because all my concern are already addressed from
Okay.
the last hearing.
All right, no problem. Mr. City Clerk, roll call.
Councilman Marcellus,
Yes.
Councilman Bland,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Steril,
Yes.
Councilman Galvin,
No.
Mayor Pierre.
Yes.
Item passed at 7:06.
Okay, thank you. Mr. City Attorney, any items to be considered? Anything we need to do to legalize this budget?
No, we're done.
Okay, hearing none. Can I get a motion to
Motion to adjourn.
Move to
Motion.
adjourn.
Okay, who was seconded? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? None. Thank you so much.
Thank you, staff, for being here.
For being here. Enjoy.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, citizens. We have a new budget.